Welcome back to That Woman podcast, the podcast that helps women embrace the journey of finding self purpose, growing their faith, and becoming the best version of themselves one day at a time. Can you believe we're already in week 5 of our series? With just 2 themes left to go, it's a perfect time to look back and reflect on the progress we've made so far. Remember that every step forward, no matter how small, is significant. So let's celebrate our growth and extend ourselves some well deserved grace. Before we dive into this week's theme, there's something important I'd like to address. When we are intentional about changing and turning our life around, especially when it's related to growing closer to God and growing our faith, please know that you are also unintentionally putting a target on your back. And what I mean by this is that the enemy does not want to see you succeed. He does not want to see you grow spiritually in any way, shape, or form. And he's going to try very hard to make the experience and the journey extremely challenging. Don't be surprised if these last couple of weeks left of the series, you begin to have issues at work, you begin to fight more with your husband, or you get so busy with things going on around you that it doesn't leave you any room to spend with God. Just know that these are all tactics that the enemy will try and use to distract you, and we need to remain focused and present despite what's going on around us. So, I just wanted to bring this to your attention, not to alarm you, but to prepare you. Being aware of these potential challenges allows us to face them with that much more resilience and faith so that we don't fall for the trap that the enemy's trying to lay out for us. All right, so now for this week's theme, my friends, you are in for something very special. Today, we're diving into a topic that every single one of us has wrestled with at some point in our lives: identity and purpose. I don't know about you, but there have been moments in my life where I've looked in the mirror and thought, who am I? What am I really doing here? Am I living the life God created me for? Maybe you felt this too. Maybe you've lost yourself in motherhood, in your career, in striving to meet the expectations of everyone around you. Maybe you've spent years shapeshifting, trying to be who others needed you to be until you're so exhausted that you don't even know what you want anymore. Well, today we're getting to the heart of that because the enemy wants to keep us confused, doubting, and disconnected from who we really are in Christ. But today, God is calling you back to the truth. So go ahead and grab that coffee, get comfortable, and let's talk about our identity and purpose. A few years ago, I was hit with the realization that my identity had been under attack for so long and I didn't even know it. During a visit with a family friend, we were all gathered around the kitchen, laughing, having conversations, and sharing stories. And after a while, someone looked at me and said, "You know what I just noticed about you? You're like a chameleon. You adjust your personality, even the way you speak, depending on who you're with." Now, just to be clear, this particular person had a background in psychology, and therefore she was making an observation about me. And this observation wasn't meant to be rude. Rather, she was simply pointing out the fact that I had this great ability to adapt to my surroundings. And in that moment, I laughed it off and agreed with her. But later that evening and in the days that followed, those words hit me like a ton of bricks. Ever since I can remember, throughout my childhood, teenage years, and into adulthood, I had subconsciously always adapted to everything around me, mainly because I always felt out of place, uncomfortable in my own skin, and incredibly self conscious. Somewhere along the way, I had learned to blend in, how to mold myself into whatever version of me was most acceptable in any given situation. Around one group, I'd be more reserved, more quiet. Around another, I'd be more outgoing, the life of the party. I would unconsciously shift my tone, my expressions, and even my accent just to make sure I fit in and felt accepted. And all it took was for someone to nonchalantly point this out to me, and suddenly I found myself faced with a terrifying truth. I had no idea who I really was. This chameleon effect wasn't just a personality quirk, it had become my defense mechanism. I had spent so much time self protecting and so afraid of others judging me and perceiving me in the wrong way that I had lost sight of who I really was. And the sad reality is that many of us go through life never knowing that our identity has been under attack all along. The enemy loves when we're confused about our identity because when we don't know who we are easier to manipulate, easier to control, and easier to pull away from God's plans for us. Have you ever felt like you've been trying so hard to be what others expect that you've lost the core of who you really are? The enemy's biggest weapon when it comes to attacking our identity is lies. Lies about who you are, lies about what you're worth, lies about your purpose. This is why it's important to arm ourselves with the best weapons we can use against the enemy. And that is the Word of God. Because His truth is like a sword that cuts through every single one of those lies. Let's look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. This is where your identity begins. You are made in the image of God, not in the image of your mistakes, not in the image of other people's expectations, and not in the image of who you think you should be. You were created intentionally by God in His likeness with a unique purpose that only you can fulfill. And I want to go a little deeper with this. I want to talk about mulieris dignitatem, which is Latin for on the dignity of women. The Mulieris Dignitatem is a beautiful apostolic letter written by Pope St. John Paul II. This document is a treasure trove that illuminates the unique and invaluable role we as women play in God's divine plan. I can easily spend hours diving into and talking about everything regarding this document. There are so many profound insights and so much wisdom to take away from it. But today, I just want to cover 5 topics found in the document and how it relates to our identity and purpose as women. The 5 topics I want to explore today are the image of God, Mary as model, the gift of self, the feminine genius, and motherhood. So let's start with the image of God. We are created in the image of God. This is a foundational and empowering truth. This concept, known as Imago Dei, is central to our understanding of human dignity and worth. And in the letter of Mulieris Dignitatem, St. John Paul II emphasizes that both men and women are made in God's likeness, reflecting His nature and attributes. And this isn't about physical attributes, but about our very essence, our capacity to love, to create, and to nurture. And I want us to think about that for a moment. The creator of the universe thought us into creation. He breathed life into us and said, I am going to make her reflect me. This truth means our worth isn't tied to our roles, achievements, or how others perceive us. It's intrinsic, meaning it is so deeply rooted in us. We matter enough and we are so precious in the eyes of God that we are worth so much. We are so valuable for the simple fact that God created us to exist. And I know that this truth is very hard for many of us to understand and embrace. The pressures of society, cultural norms, and even our personal experiences can cloud the perception of our worth. Many of us face unrealistic expectations as we try to conform to these crazy and impossible standards, especially when it comes to beauty, success, or even how we should behave, leading us to feel self doubt and unworthiness. Throughout my life, there have been many times where I have grappled with my self worth, constantly comparing myself to others and just feeling like I could never measure up. And it wasn't until I learned this concept of Imago Dei, being created in God's image, that I finally felt liberated because I was reminded that my value is anchored in something far greater than society measures. So, how can we embrace this newfound identity as being created in God's image? Here are some simple but powerful ways we can start living in the truth of who we are. First, we need to pause and reflect. Take time regularly to remind yourself of your God given worth. Go back to scripture, verses like Genesis 1:27 or Ephesians 4:24, where Paul tells us to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. These verses aren't just words, they're reminders that we are made to reflect God's image in everything we do. Next, speak life over yourself. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who see your value, and remind you that you are God's masterpiece. Replace any negative self talk with God's truth about you. And it also goes without saying to not forget to speak life over others around you as well. And the third way is to live it out. Every interaction is an opportunity to reflect God's love, kindness, and justice. When we see ourselves and others as reflections of Him, it changes how we show up in the world. The more we anchor ourselves in this truth, the more confidence, purpose, and peace will carry through life. Because knowing who we are in God transforms how we live. Now I want to turn our attention to Mary, the mother of Jesus and our heavenly mother. I have this deep love and affection for Mary. You'll always hear me refer to her as Mother Mary. Mother Mary is the epitome of womanhood. Her life, marked by unwavering faith and obedience, offers us invaluable lessons on embracing our calling. At the Annunciation, when the angel Gabriel appeared to her and revealed God's plan, her response was a wholehearted fiat, which means yes, even without knowing all the details. In Luke chapter 1, verse 38, Mary responds, "Here I am, the servant of the Lord. Let it be done to me according to your word." Let's claim this. This declaration exemplifies humility and profound trust, qualities that we can aspire to gain in our own faith journeys. And I don't know about you, but not knowing how things are going to turn out is something I struggle with the most. I don't like the feeling of not knowing what's going to happen, what the next step is, or what the plan is. Yet, looking at Mother Mary and recognizing the trust and openness to God's will she had is so inspiring. She shows us that embracing our purpose often requires stepping into the unknown with faith first. I remember when I began to feel that little nudge to start this podcast. I wrestled for a long time with imposter syndrome. Who am I to think that I can do this? What if no one even listens? I don't even have anything important or of value to share with others. These were all the thoughts and lies the enemy put in my head. But when I'm reminded of Mary's fiat, of the bold yes she gave God, it gives me courage to move forward, trusting that not only God will guide my journey, but Mother Mary will also be right there with me, leading me closer to her Son, our Lord Jesus. So here's how we can follow Mary's example in our own lives. Listen for God's voice. Make prayer a priority, not just as a routine, but as a way to truly hear God speaking to your heart. The more we allow God some reserved time just for Him, the more we can tune into His voice, the more confidently we can step forward in faith, even when we don't have all the answers. Be brave in your fiat. God's plans for us don't always fit neatly into what the world expects, or even what we expect. But like Mary, we're called to trust, to step out in courage, and to embrace the unique calling He has for each one of us. Lean on community. We're not meant to do this alone. Join a Bible study, join a mom's group with other women that not only share the same values, but are going to be a great support system. Just as our Mother Mary sought out her cousin Elizabeth, we too need strong, faith filled friendships to encourage us, challenge us, and remind us that we're not walking this journey alone. So let's take a moment and reflect on what areas in our lives we're feeling hesitant to give our fiat to God, to say yes to those little nudges. How can we draw inspiration from Mother Mary's example to embrace our unique calling? When we say yes to God fully, freely, and without reservation, we become part of something so much bigger than ourselves. We step into His greater plan, carrying His love and hope into the world. So let's be women who give God our fiat, women that are not afraid to boldly say yes. Okay, moving on to the third topic, the gift of self. This is something at the heart of who we are as women. Our ability to love through self gift is one of the most beautiful things Mulieris Dignitatem highlights. How women have a unique way of loving, a love that mirrors the selfless, unconditional love of God. And when I say self gift, I don't just mean the grand, obvious gestures of love, like raising children or taking care of family. This love shows up everywhere, in the small moments, in the way we listen, in the way we show up for people, in the way we pour into the lives of those around us. Sometimes this call to self giving love can feel overwhelming. As women, we're often expected to be everything to everyone. But here's the key: true self gift doesn't mean neglecting yourself. It's not about giving so much that you lose yourself or burn out. You've probably heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. So it's about giving from a place of fullness, a place where your love is freely and joyfully offered. So, how can we practice the gift of self? There are three ways that we can do this. Number one, be intentional. The small acts of love matter. Texting a friend who's struggling, leaving an encouraging note, taking time to listen when someone needs to talk. Love is in the details. Number two, set healthy boundaries. Loving others well doesn't mean wearing yourself down. Jesus himself took time to step away and pray, to rest, to be filled before pouring out again. You have permission to do the same. And number three, create a culture of self giving. When we surround ourselves with women who lift each other up, who pour into each other rather than compete, we build a world where this kind of love can thrive. The more we live in this truth, the more we reflect God's love in everything we do. So, now for topic number four, I want to take a moment to celebrate something truly beautiful: the way God designed women. St. John Paul II calls it the feminine genius, and it's all about the unique gifts we bring to the world. As women, we have been blessed to have this deep intuition, this ability to sense and respond to the needs of others, to create warmth, connection, and healing in a way that is so uniquely ours. That's not a coincidence. It's part of God's design. Now, society often paints these qualities as soft, weak, or less than. But let me tell you, there is nothing weak about compassion. There is nothing small about being a nurturer. The world needs what we bring to the table. Proverbs 31:26 says, "She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue." That's the feminine genius in action. Strength wrapped in wisdom and kindness that transforms lives. And since we are talking about seeing things in action, let's talk about a few ways we can lean into our feminine genius. Recognize your gifts. Whether you're a fierce protector of your family, a leader in your community, an encourager to friends, or a calm and steady presence of peace, your gifts matter. And in order for us to offer the world the gifts God gave us, we need to cultivate them, grow in wisdom, deepen your empathy, and hone your ability to lead, encourage, and nurture. Your gifts aren't just for you, they're for the world. Too often we shrink back thinking our contributions, our gifts, our talents don't matter. But the world needs women who own their gifts and step into them with confidence, boldly, and unapologetically. Whether you're a mom, a teacher, a businesswoman, a caretaker, a stay at home mom, your feminine genius is a gift from God. Own it, embrace it, and use it to bring light into the spaces you occupy. And finally, topic number 5, motherhood. Now, before you tune out and think, well, I'm not a mom, I don't have children of my own, so this doesn't apply to me, let me stop you right there. Because motherhood is so much bigger than that. Motherhood is a spiritual reality, a way of living that is written into the very design of a woman's heart. Women are designed to be life givers, whether that means raising children, mentoring younger women, nurturing friendships, leading with wisdom, or simply being a source of love and encouragement in the lives of others. That is the true meaning of motherhood. So it doesn't matter if you have children of your own or not. God has given you a maternal heart that is meant to bless and build others up. And I want you to think about the women in your life who have mothered you in some way. Maybe it was a mentor, an older sister, a friend who walked with you through a tough season, or a boss who saw your potential and pushed you to grow. These women carried out the essence of motherhood, guiding, nurturing, and uplifting others. It's honestly so incredible to witness this natural essence we have from a young age. I've actually seen this with my own daughters. They instinctively know sometimes how to take care of each other, especially with their baby sister. They will randomly check in on me and ask, "Mom, have you checked Noelle's diaper?" Or they will just know sometimes that I've had a long night with the baby and they'll say, "It's okay, Mom. Take a quick nap. I'll watch Noelle for you." I can't tell you how much that means, especially given the fact that they themselves take the initiative to want to nurture and take care of their loved ones. And that just goes to show how we really are born to love and nurture others. Isaiah 66:13 says, "As a mother comforts her child, so will I comfort you." God Himself chooses motherhood as a way to describe His love for us. That's how sacred, how powerful, and how needed this calling is in the world. In some ways, we can live out spiritual motherhood is by being present. Show up for people, be the one who listens and who offers encouragement, who pours love into those around you. Build and uplift others. The words you say have so much power. Use them to affirm, encourage, and bring confidence to others. And pray over others. Whether it's your kids, your friends, your coworkers, cover the people in your life in prayer. There's something incredibly powerful about a woman who prays over those she loves. The world needs more women who embrace the heart of motherhood, not just in raising children, but in shaping hearts, nurturing souls, and guiding others closer to Christ. So, to wrap up this episode, we are going to talk about our challenge of the week. We've covered a lot: our identity in God, Mary's incredible example of saying yes, the power of self giving love, the beauty of her feminine genius, and the call to motherhood in all its forms. And now it's time to take action. So, your challenge for this week: number one, spend time in prayer. Just like in our previous weeks, it all leads back to prayer. Ask God to reveal areas in your life where you have struggled to embrace your identity as a woman created in His image. Number two, step into your feminine genius. Identify one unique gift that God has given you and find a way to use it this week. Whether it's offering encouragement, leading with wisdom, or singing in the choir at your church, step into it with confidence. And some of you might be saying, well, Vanessa, I'm not too sure what my unique gift is. And if that is you and you feel like you're not sure what gift you can give others, I want you to go to a friend or someone you love and trust and ask them, what unique gift do you think I have? What gift do I have that can serve others? It's very natural for us not to recognize what we're good at and what talents we have, but the people around you that know you can. At the end of the day, I want you to remember, it's not about how grand your gifts or your talents are, but it's about how much love we use our gifts with to help others. And the last challenge, number three, be a spiritual mother. Look around your community and ask, who needs me right now? Maybe it's a coworker, a friend, or someone in your family who could use guidance and support. Take initiative to be a mother to them in whatever way God leads you. Our identity and purpose as women are so much bigger than any role we could ever have. We are daughters of God, reflections of His image, and bearers of His love in the world. And if you take nothing else from this episode, remember this: you are a masterpiece, intricately designed by the Creator with purpose and love. Discovering your true identity and purpose isn't going to happen overnight. We need to see it as a continuous journey of discovery and growth. As we navigate this path together, let's support one another and celebrate our unique gifts. When you reflect and look back on your life, you will see that God has been preparing you to step into the role He created you for. So let's live boldly in that truth. Thank you for joining me today on That Woman podcast. And if this episode resonated with you, please share with others and continue the conversation. Let's inspire each other to live authentically and purposefully, rooted in the truth of our divine identity. And as always, keep on striving to be that woman you can be proud of.